Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 180th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are discussing why GameStop is so hot. So, a lot to be discussed there, but before we dive into the topic, I have a couple of questions for you. First, have you downloaded this episode on WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app? If not, please do so immediately. That is how you are able to join the conversation. By getting the app, you can put in your comments and you can tell us, were you also involved in kind of what has been going on in the news with GameStop? What your thoughts are, whether you agree with what's been going on, disagree, any of that, and so much in between. Please make sure you do that. Now, if you cannot download the Podbean app to do that, then make sure that you are subscribed and following WokeNFree on whatever platform you're listening to. So we have great support on iTunes. You'll also find us on TuneIn, on Stitcher, on Google Play. Obviously, our YouTube channel. You'll find episodes on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Pandora. So there's a plethora of places that you can find the show at, and make sure you're subscribed and followed. So make sure you do that. Of course, you can also subscribe via email, and you can encourage your friends and family to do the same by going to WokeNFree.com and simply just subscribing via email. And then, of course, if you want to interact with us on social media, you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, yes, TikTok, and Pinterest at WokeNFree. And then if you have like 90 seconds, what could you do with that? You can do a lot with it. But what we ask for you to do is to make sure you go and give us a review. So if you haven't already given us a review on iTunes, we would love that, because who doesn't want more 5-star reviews? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Nice. Thank you. So amazing.
That's good.
And so with that, scene end.
Alrighty. Before we start the conversation, we like to share a little bit about us. Last time we shared, would you rather give up watching movies for the rest of your life or never ever read another book? This week we're asking, would you rather donate an organ to a friend in need or sell one to a stranger for tons of money?
So this is a really interesting question. It definitely sounds fun, making money off of internal organs. Yay.
Yeah. Interesting.
But for me, true friendship is very rare and something that should be treasured. To me, true friendship is like family to me, because y'all know how I get salty about actual family, given my context. But when someone says to me and they've proven to me that they're a true friend, I would do anything for that person. So if they needed an organ, I got you forever. And I would choose that route as opposed to making money off my internal organs. If a friend really needed it and it was not going to compromise my health, sure, why not?
Okay.
And you?
That's a good one. I would have to ask, the follow-up question is how much money? That's definitely the second question. After asking that
true
first
businessman.
thing.
Yeah.
we gotta know, because look how I think about it. When my friend needs an organ, I could just buy it for the friend if I already sold my organ for some good cash. I just think practically about it.
Okay.
So see how I did that? I saved my friend really
and
I got money.
But sure,
you doubt I would do which part?
I doubt you would actually buy an organ for your friend.
If I already sold my organ and made good money off of it, then I have now enough.
Because you would ask them, why won't they buy it themselves?
Why would they buy it themselves?
Yes.
No, because I sold my organ so I could help them out in the future.
Oh,
I was thinking in the long term.
Help them or help you?
No, so it was about helping them.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, I could have gave them an organ, or I could have sold my organ and then still go and buy them an organ, and we both pocket more cash.
I don't believe you. Are you done?
Oh, wow. Now you're talking about something different. Talking about belief of would this person do that? Interesting. I don't think the question was that deep.
Very true, sir.
Wowzer.
Well, with that, I think we will keep this party train going. And I have to ask, why is GameStop so hot?
Well, Black Enterprise, they give a summary basically of what happened. And the stock saga began after a legion of retail traders banded together in the Wall Street's bet forum on Reddit. And they decided to invest in GameStop stocks in order to make money and troll massive hedge funds. As a result, the shares of the struggling brick and mortar video game retailer jumped by more than 14,300%.
Wow.
I think that was like a couple weeks ago before dropping down to less than $100 at one point. And that was according to CNET. They got that information from. And this coalition of small individual investors, they ended up costing billions of dollars in losses for extremely well-funded financial firms who were betting against GameStop stock. Not to mention, they talk about in the article a little bit later, and I'll go into detail about that, but the Robinhood trading app, actually, they had blocked investors from trading certain other GameStop, AMC, Kia, some other
shares,
stocks. They didn't allow them to trade those stocks anymore for a while. And I'll explain later on
I think
how that happened.
Down, I think so. To just summarize, so you're saying that GameStop, their stock was just regularly at a current point in the market, right? And then all of a sudden people were talking about it in a Reddit forum, and then that's created a surplus of people betting against them, or I think breaking it out would be helpful.
So we can go one at a time. So the first thing that happened was and there's a lot of stocks like this, but GameStop is kind of a struggling company, and it looks like they're going to be, disbanding or going away, shutting the doors, whatever. Something's going to happen to them. And that stock price is going to, under normal circumstances, it's just going to go down.
Okay.
So these big hedge fund managers, they saw, there's a lot of money to be made, because you don't have to just make money by going long on a stock. And that's what most people think of when you buy a stock. You hold it and you wait till it grows in value.
Yeah.
But you can also short the stock.
And what does that mean?
So when you short the stock, you borrow some of the stocks, and then at a later point in time, you sell it back. And the hopes is that when you sell it back, it's at a lower price. So you take the differential between what the stocks was worth when you bought it, and then compared to the price that now you're selling it at. So what happens is if the stock goes down, the person who borrowed the stock, they actually get more money because they sold it for less than that they purchased. It's like an opposite kind of thing.
You bet hoping that it goes down.
The stock has to go down for you to make money.
So kind of like you
short
buy a stock at $30 and then it goes down to $10.
You get $20 difference. You get the 20 differential.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you're not borrowing it, you're borrowing it is what you're doing. You don't actually own the stock.
That's what shorting the stock is.
So the problem is you don't actually own it, but at some point in time you have to give the stock back to the person. So when you buy it back, you're hoping that. So
it's an IOU.
So when you actually, so it's like an IOU. So when you buy it back, if you buy it back at a lower price, you get the differential between when you first said you were going to borrow the stock and now what the price is worth. So if something's worth, like you just said, something's $30. Let's say I borrow your $30. I didn't pay you nothing. I got $30, but at some point, hopefully if that goes down, let's say it doesn't go down, it stays the same. At some point, I just got to pay you $30 back. Okay. But if it goes to $10, what happens is now that it's worth less, I still get to capitalize on what it was worth when I first agreed to borrow it. So you actually got to pay me now the $20.
Okay.
You pay me the differential.
Well, in this situation with the GameStop stock, just so to kind of clarify, how did people make money? Because there's a bunch of people talking about it. And
so now, all right. So what I was talking about just from the people, the big hedge fund, the hedge fund managers, they were shorting the stock.
Okay, they were betting against it.
They went against it. So what happened was these other people, on the Reddit forums, they said, "Oh no, this is messed up. Let's all buy up the stock." Okay. And so when you buy it, it's almost like a supply and demand thing. There was so much demand that drove the price up.
Oh, okay.
But what that did is those Reddit investors, they caused what was called a short squeeze, and it basically forced those investors from previously, the hedge fund guys, they had to buy the stock, because as that price goes up, that's the amount of losses that they're going to have. So it's kind of like if you got it at 30 and now it's at 100, now your loss is going to be the $70. But if it goes up to 200, your loss is going to go up $170. So they're trying to cut the losses, and it triggered, I think that they might have it on an automatic system or whatever, but it was triggering everybody else who was shorting the stock. They had to buy more. They had to buy the stock back as well. And then it kept
driving the price up.
And that drove the price up crazy, and that created the short squeeze.
Okay. And so the people who were making, because weren't there claims going around that people were making $1,000,
Yeah.
$100,000, and how were they because they were on the side of the shorting, or they were on the side of the
anybody on the side of the shorting was losers.
Losing money.
Yeah,
Okay.
which it was adding up. It adds up
so
to billions of dollars.
Bought it and it kept rising in value. That's
people buying during then were making money. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
now.
yeah, the people buying, and there was also people who had already bought before this was even started.
They held it. And
yeah,
then,
so it's like if you bought GameStop 10 years ago, you could
a ton of money. Then.
As long as you, I mean, you still can sell now and still make good money. But if you sold during then, you would have made a real good amount of money.
So if they bought it at 10 and it jumped up to like $1,000, they would have made.
Some people were hoping it goes to 1,000, but as of now, the highest it reached was around $420.
Okay. But even if they bought it at like $10
just
or
think
$20,
about that differential,
and depending on how many they had.
People put like $70,000 in kind of thing. Wow. People took out second mortgages. Those people on Reddit to actually buy it. So depending on when they bought, though, they could have been screwed because they could have bought it at 300.
That makes
sense. And then
sense,
you know, now it's down. It's like it's 60. Sometimes it's 90, but we don't know what's going to happen. You know, it could jump back up. We're not really sure.
So now, what is the ultimate impact of this whole GameStop situation happening? Like this. The hedge fund investors losing money, the people who held the stock who gained money, like SEC being triggered on this. Like, what's the ultimate situation here now?
All right. Again, from Black Enterprise, they just talked about just the hedge fund, the hedge fund managers. They lost billions of dollars because they thought that they made the brokers $10 million for the shorted GameStop stocks. But they ended up owing 20 or 30 million. And these were, there was like thousands of these guys that had shorted the stock. So that's where we get that, the billions of dollars adding up.
But so were none of the people in the Reddit were obviously invested in those hedge funds because you wouldn't do that to your own money.
No, right? That wouldn't be smart to do that. Yeah. But guess what? There's like 401ks that
got affected by this as well.
That lost money too in value because they're being run by these managers.
Oh, wow.
So, teachers, some of their retirement money could lose a lot of cash.
Oh.
So that's one of the kind of problems,
Okay.
Because the Reddit people were just what you would call day traders. They're not professional investors. They're just people that are trading on apps.
Did they do this intentionally, or they?
Yeah, it was a thing it was to stick it to them. Yeah, they were trying to stick it to because it was an emotional kind of thing. It wasn't just like, we randomly are gonna look at something that's not really good, like some trash stock, and we're gonna make money off it. They were like, we like GameStop. That was our childhood. We used to get games from there. It was a sentimental kind of thing value. Yeah. Because the only stocks like that were chosen, and there's other stocks that were targeted. GameStop is just the biggest one. There might be some other ones coming.
So this has happened before?
There's been a short squeeze before. This is the biggest one of its kind.
I don't remember.
There's nothing else like this. This is the movie kind of thing. Even though there was that other movie called The Big Short.
Yeah,
there's that one too. That had to deal with the housing market too.
Real estate
so that was another big one. I mean, there was billions lost there too. There was
well, I mean, the '08 crash, right?
Yeah. So that was the big thing. So this is like the other. This is another one. This is gonna.
But now,
affect history.
What's the additional like impact things that people should be aware of since, this has been a hot topic in this household as well as like all over the news?
Yeah. I mean, I want to mention one thing that, just to kind of explain what happened with Robinhood, because so there was this one company, they were called Melvin Capital, and they actually needed to be bailed out because of this. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to buy those stocks because the price went up. Okay. Because of that squeeze. So when they're shorting stock, they're not shorting one GameStop stock. They're shorting like millions of them.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're talking about, like millions of GameStop stocks. So that's worth
the market's
like that's worth millions of dollars. They have millions of dollars at stake here. So, they need to be bailed out. And then Citadel, they're a much larger hedge fund, and they ended up bailing out that company. Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, Citadel is the company that Robinhood actually sells its users' information and data to. That's that's Robinhood's biggest client. So, once that happened, it's like Robinhood needs to kind of protect their client against their users, because otherwise they can go out of business. So that's why they ended up restricting the trading, is because you're hurting our client, because our client had to spend a lot of money to keep, this other company afloat. And then they're not going to want to deal with us because we're the ones that causing them to lose money, right? So why would we fund them? So Robinhood did it to protect the company.
Trading.
They weren't trying to hurt the users.
But
it was actually a reason.
Obviously, the trading needed to stop because it was causing issues. Like, people keep buying it.
But technically, it wasn't breaking any rules. That's what's funny.
But the
no
SEC
rules were broken.
is monitoring the situation, aren't they?
They're looking because you're not supposed to game the system, but there's not a technical rule that was been broken. If there was no
even the manipulation, because I thought you can't really manipulate the
that's not a rule. There's very specific. I don't know all the SEC rules, but there's very specific. You can't just make a general statement and be like, no gamifying the stocks. You can't. That doesn't mean anything. You got to actually say, all right, you can't give information that's not available to the public.
Well, yeah, no, inside trading.
That's insider trading. See how that's very specific. There's not like a specific rule that was broken.
But there was none of that was provided here.
No, none of that happened because then there'd be trouble. No, then if there was like information that nobody else knew about that wasn't public, that would be an issue.
But
technically, Reddit is a public forum that anybody could join, and that information wasn't based off of anything but people saying let's band together and buy something.
But if people are held liable for this, like, are they identifiable in Reddit? I mean, aren't those just user account? Like, do they have? Would they even be able to come?
Anybody could sign up for a Reddit account and be anonymous,
and it wouldn't be easily identifiable.
Not easily,
to come after those people.
But the way you could try to come after them is you could just go and look at the stocks and look who is trading certain amount of money.
Okay,
because that information that's tied to a social security number.
Okay, so you could find the people.
Oh yeah, you can find you can find everybody involved in how much they invested. Yeah, you can just find people who invested at a certain during this time period.
Everyone who did that. Okay.
Yeah, just and look at the amounts that they invested though. That's the key.
Interesting.
The ones that are investing at least 50,000 or more. Those are the people that were causing an effect. Those are the ones that were causing some trouble. But but again, what did they do? There, as we see, there's not, as from what I've seen, there's not been anything specific saying that, well, they broke this rule. Nope, no rules were broken.
You are listening to WokeNFree.
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 A podcast that keeps it real and honest.
But do you think because of the situation that the SEC will consider maybe kind of issuing a regulation to prevent situations like this? If it is possible. I don't know. It seems very vague.
Yeah, it's a little tough. Because it's supposed to regulate itself.
You are allowed to talk about stocks, right?
And you can tell your friends, let's all buy this. That doesn't mean anything.
It's not.
That's allowed. It's just that when stocks were invented, there was no such things as social media where you could spread a word to do something rapidly. So that was the thing. How you got your news was from the company itself or from the newspapers reporting on certain things. So this is a new day and age for stocks. And Robinhood, what they did is they made it easy for anybody to do day trading. So they did it before a lot of the other brokerage firms, but what they did is they allow people to trade stocks with no fees. Because a lot of places charge a fee for trading. So it's like, it said, all right, I'm not going to trade that much because I got to pay every time. But when Robinhood said, hey, there's no fees.
You can do it for free.
Fee free, you can trade. You can go ahead and do what you want.
So more people got into it. That way.
And then, I mean, another pickle is people who purchase options, because options, you get to control a whole lot of shares for less money.
Okay.
You control hundreds of shares for thousands of dollars less.
Okay.
So, and that's how you can manipulate it even faster.
And how did that play within the
it makes, so when you do that, I mean, all it does, it's like, so if I buy one option, it's like if I buy 100 shares of stock, but it's like a tenth of the price. It's a lot less than if you actually bought 100 stocks. But I control what happens to those 100 shares. I can decide if I want to buy it, if I want someone else to buy it. You have a little bit of more control when you buy options of a lot of shares, and that manipulates the price too. Because then it's like, all right, these 100 shares could be purchased by somebody. So, if a lot of people are buying the options, that's going to drive up the stock as well. Yeah, because now it's like, these are on the line.
So options were involved with this as well.
There is definitely that trading, because you can do that on Robinhood as well.
Interesting. Wow. So
there's a lot going on there. But
what are your thoughts? Because, you're a fan of the market, like trading, stock market, and
I think
kind of
it's a great market.
Fan. I mean, you were, childhood friend, fan of GameStop, right, and stuff like that. So, what are your ultimate thoughts here, like for people to understand, like where you're coming from? Because this is definitely more your world than my world.
My ultimate thoughts is, I mean, this. So, the thing is with this is, if you're, I don't know if you're interested in getting into stocks, I would actually not say GameStop and BlackBerry, AMC, Nokia. I would say be very careful if you go around.
Well, how do people identify
they're very
what's a
volatile.
good stock, like how to get into the market for themselves? I guess.
How do you identify that? I mean, there's tons of research you can do, and you can follow people and they tell you information. But I think a good way to think about it is like, let's say, you are into like a GameStop. Just kind of look at the news around GameStop. Look at their financial and any financial information you can get around them. How well are they doing? How much money do they earn a year? What's their revenue? You know, that kind of stuff. Who's running the company? What's their future outlook? You got to look at things like that. Okay. You don't just buy a stock just because it sounds like nice. You don't say, oh,
or
man.
that like you love them back in the day.
Yeah, I love the water that they make. I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. Like, it's funny. Some
some
people have done that with GameStop, but no one knew that it was gonna explode like that. Some people knew, but it's a very risky thing because some things you buy and then it's not worth anything. You can get a stock and the companies doesn't do that well, or they just do okay, and there's not much there's not much movement from it.
Now that the stock price has gone up, where do things stand then? Like
it's a roller. Well, right now GameStop is on a roller coaster ride, so there's no telling what could happen. I mean, the guess it could go back to what it was worth pre GameStop saga.
Right? Yeah.
It could go back into the 30s. It's not at there now, or it could go up to. Some people were waiting for it to go to 1,000.
Okay,
that's what some people were really. That would have been a big payoff.
To drive it now that like people are upset about it.
And a good thing to put forward just before, like people don't realize like the stocks technically. It's not like it's a win-win situation. This money's coming from somewhere. So, like we were saying previously, when those people who were gaming the system and having GameStop go up, there was the hedge fund managers, they were losing money, but that money was from teachers who invested their money.
Oh man.
You know, it wasn't not just teachers, but there's other people too.
Their retirement plans.
There might have been some rich people too as well that were losing money there, but either way, there's some people who know nothing about the stock market losing money from it because their money is invested in the stock market because it's generally a good way
part
to
of your 401k
earn your return. Yeah. A lot of money's put in that. I mean, it's not just bonds. Stocks are really good for that. They generally go up. You know, that's what you say. Company does well, it goes up. Bad company's bad, it goes down. GameStop wasn't doing well, it was going down. Why is it going up? See, it didn't follow any rules. So it's a very it's a tricky thing. From a predictability
perspective, you think it's not even clear where it's going to go from here. Then
I mean, I have a feeling that it might. I think it's a roller coaster, so I don't think it's done for yet. I don't think this is the end of the GameStop saga. I think there's more to it, but I could be completely wrong. It could go to zero, and I was like, oh well, that was that.
That's what happened.
So it's a dangerous game to play, but you could look into it. I'm not giving financial advice, but it may go back up.
There's no financial advice.
This is not what WokeNFree is about.
A conversation around the situation.
We're just giving you some insight into what happened, and that was just my prediction. But I'm not recommending people go out and buy GameStop.
But I like your advice about just like if you're interested, like do your homework and do more than look at companies more than just the products, right? Because to your
don't just
point,
look at a product.
Like I love Barbies dolls, I love Barbies, but like does it make sense for me to if you could invest in Mattel? I'm not sure if I think they might be a publicly traded company, but like. Should you do that just because you love a Barbie doll? Like, no, probably not. Like, look at how the company performance has been over the years. What are other predictions? What are some of the financial experts out there saying? What are they predicting that they're going to come out and roll out with as a company? And then make your due diligence and work with the professionals or the people or platforms that can give you the resources you need. Like, I think that this is seriousness because it's your money and you work hard for it. So you don't want to just like burn it.
Even if you want to try, I mean, look what happened to the big hedge fund managers. They got screwed. They were bet against the stock and it didn't work out.
People lost their jobs, probably, right? People lost jobs.
Probably. I mean,
if you lost millions of dollars,
but even though it's funny, they just follow things that have always been working though too. It's not like
interesting.
It's not like that hasn't worked in the past. They've earned a lot of money from that. They've grown these.
This is an anomaly.
They've grown them. This is an anomaly. That's not normal what happened. But it's a thing where how can you protect against it? So this is where I think the SEC is going to think about how to look into that because that's not really great that just a group of people can say, hey,
that seems
your bet is wrong.
Wild.
Your bet's based off of numbers and logic. but it was all wrong, right? That's what it's saying.
That seems really crazy that it could be like this whole situation got manipulated through a Reddit forum.
Yeah, it was almost, so some people compare it to Occupy Wall Street, but it was actually hitting them financially. Like this was a real occupying. This is showing you that when we work together, that we can get money. Because the thing is, the money was going directly into individuals' pockets instead of just these big funds that we don't know who's a part of.
Gotcha.
So that's how they felt they were sticking it to the man, but we don't know who's.
But we don't even know
who's a part of that.
Point, all the people who really were injured here. Like
that's the crazy really part of it. Yeah, it's not just like this is not like a Robin Hood kind of thing.
Yeah, like take from the rich and give to the poor.
This isn't actually like that. Yeah,
this is wow. Like you could have stole from the poor to give to the poor.
Because to mention the thing that this was sparked up by actually he was the founder of Chewy, and he actually invested heavily into GameStop, and that's kind of what got the Redditors looking like, hey, why did he invest into this? It must be something going on.
Interesting.
That was like the start of it. So just think about it. I don't know if he sold any of his shares during that big bubbling point of it, but if he did, like around that point, that made him a billionaire.
Woo!
So look you're trying to stick it to the rich while another rich person's getting even richer. So I don't know. Dang. It's kind of funny. Like, yeah, he was a billionaire. I don't know if he sold
when
or not.
The dust settles, if they're going to identify all the people who like became millionaires.
There's people that became millionaires, and then a couple of billionaires. Incredible. There was a couple other billionaires who invested. That guy from The Big Short, he had GameStop stock, and he made like, I don't know, it was 30 million or something. It was something good. He knew it was coming too. He saw it and he got in there. Yeah. He said, oh, this is going to be good.
See, that's so fascinating.
But he had already been buying. It was funny. Yeah, he was betting against the other people again.
Really?
And it worked out
again just like he did in the real estate market. Yeah.
It was the same thing. Yeah, how he knew.
Huh.
Yeah, he bet against the norms. And so he made money. So there was rich people making money too. It wasn't just.
No, it's not just.
It wasn't. This was not a Robin Hood situation, even though Robin Hood was actually behind this big fiasco too, because most of the traders were on the Robin Hood app. I mean, this is just facts. This isn't.
Okay.
It's not a knock against anything. This is literally how this is going down.
Just kind of what happened in the situation. Yeah. Okay.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Bjorn is a hedge fund manager who saw that GameStop was trading at $15. He then went to his prime broker and said, let me borrow these shares at $15 and I'm going to sell it to someone else. The idea was later on, if the stock went down, he would buy it back for $5 and therefore earn $10 as a return of that difference. Knowing that GameStop was struggling to keep stores open, was this the best decision for Bjorn?
Similar to kind of what
actually happened. Yeah.
I don't even know how to answer it. Because
you don't? Because remember, hindsight's 20/20. Of course, now, like, why would anybody do that? Look what happened to it.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking realistically, that would be that seems like an easy decision. It's like, if somebody has a business, like, all right, here's a good one. If someone's selling, like, earthquake insurance to people in Arizona, it's like, I mean, if that's your company, I'm going to bet against your company. It's going to fail. But what if the Redditors came along and said, hey, guys,
there's going to be a big earthquake.
We're going to buy this thing up. Yeah, they're going to say, we think earthquakes are going to be big in the future, and we buy it up. They can make it where that stock goes up. So even though I thought that company should fail, like, no one needs it, it actually does well. Okay. So see, that's what it's talking about. Like, do you follow logic or do you say, I'm too scared and I'm not going to even get involved?
I mean, probably logic. I don't know. I find the whole market to be very confusing.
Oh, it's just a confusing thing for you.
You're like, it confuses me. Yeah. I'm just like, what?
Well, it's funny because, technically it's not tangible.
Yeah,
it's an intangible asset.
Very, like, confusing.
It is actually intangible. There's nothing that you hold or anything. It's not like cold hard cash where you just hold it and say, this is cash.
I love your enthusiasm and knowledge about it, and
it's very that you've had interesting. With
it, but I find it very
so you got into it. Oh man!
Not that I'm not into it. I just feel very not in my element. I'm just like, I don't understand.
And that's like, I think it's 67% of people aren't investing or don't invest in the stock market and know nothing about it. So most Americans don't know.
It's true. I find it intimidating. I really do. It's interesting.
It is at first. It starts off as a big thing, and then if you try to get down, they have like a whole Greek alphabet thing. I don't know all the details of that stuff. Okay. Like I'm not like the professionals that know how to follow the betas and the gammas. Like I don't know. I want to learn that because that's how that helps you really perform better. Yeah, you'll know how well this stock is really doing. Oh, okay. That helps you, but I don't know all that stuff. But some of the basics you can just look at and be like, wow, look, they're about to announce their earnings. They're about to get a lot of cash. I mean, I think the stock's going to go up because they met the earnings estimate or they exceeded it. You know, it could be simple things like that. Or, oh man, they have a lot of competition. I think they're going to go down. Or the government's investigating them. Investors are going to get scared. It's going to go down. You know, things like that. Well, I just think it's interesting to follow that stuff.
What's the correct answer here then?
The correct answer is it's unfortunate, but yeah, it is actually the best. It is his best decision to short the stock because most likely it is going to go down, even though that's not what happened. Technically, his decision was sound. Okay. And he probably didn't just base it off. I mean, he probably had more of the information at hand that showed that, this is not going to end up well for this company. So I would say he was okay in his thought process, but he got burned in the head because it actually didn't go as planned. Gotcha. And I'm not trying to scare people, but yeah, the GameStop was one of those anomalies. Interesting. You got to be careful. I mean, I can't recommend what to do, but I would stick with the big players in the game. People that are, I don't know. I like to stick with a company that I know is not failing, but some people want to take their chances and go with failing companies. I try not to mess with that.
The market has those opportunities, right?
Yeah, there's some companies that do really well, and there's no issues like this that happens, but with this type of company, the buy-in was cheap, so it was very alluring at first. Yeah. Scenario 2. Domantas is interested in making money from the GameStop fiasco. Should he look into buying stock from GameStop or look elsewhere because he missed the boat?
So, to your point, since potentially it's not necessarily clear that things are over with and that there still could be opportunities to go up or go down, I don't necessarily know if he should take that defeatist attitude of saying that he missed the boat because he could potentially buy now and it could go up $100. It could
go up even more.
Or go up $200 and then drop down
up $1,000.
Yeah, and so I think as long as he's willing to risk earning money or losing money, and that is money that is not necessarily required for immediate bills or financial obligations, that I would say go for it because you never know in life, and it's surprising how life really shows up in just rocks your world because the people who made money from this probably hoped it would happen, but they weren't guaranteed that it would happen. So you never know. So go for it. Why not?
All right, that's a good one. Yeah,
but this is not financial advice. These are just scenarios.
Yeah, they're scenarios. Yeah, yeah, I agree. What I have the problem with is if you're taking out a second mortgage on your house and then trying to invest that into GameStop of all things. I would say that's not the way to go. Don't take all your life savings and dump it in there because there's people who have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like regular people, though.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my.
So other people got burned, too. They said, I want to be in on this, and I'm willing to risk it all. Well, that's okay, but you're risking that for somebody else's profit now. Because someone else is going to win off of your loss. And that loss for you is a hard loss to take. So if you do this, you should think of this as like when you go to the casino.
Yeah, if you have discretionary
don't spend more than you can afford to, right? Yeah. Because we all have money that we give out for fun, right? So you just got to think about that when you invest. Like just keep that close to heart. When you invest in something so volatile like
the stock market. And specifically
because the stock market as a whole, I don't think is all volatile, but those couple of stocks that I mentioned, you got to watch them. Yeah. And you can see that if you look at their history, they have had some issues. So I would say don't put your life savings into this, but I'm not going to say for sure how you should invest your life savings. Like the stock market might be the one you want to do. You got to, find that out for yourself though. Scenario number 3. Mozan is a young woman looking to increase her wealth. She was interested in investing in stocks, but is weary that she could lose lots of money, like what happened to some people involved in the GameStop crisis. Should she be wary of all stocks, or will her money still be safe investing in the market?
It's a great question. So to your point, actually, the whole stock market as a whole is not a situation to avoid because, look at how many people have made millions and billions of dollars from this.
Look at most of the billionaires.
Yeah, they are.
It's based off of stocks.
Yeah, so I would say that Mozan should be doing her due diligence and try to make as educated decisions as she can, and not necessarily let her fear get in the way of potentially changing her life through investing and this financial planning. It is definitely a viable market for her. It's just a matter of the stock she chooses, how much she invests, and the type of plan that she sets herself up with. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'm biased because I invest in stocks. So of course I would say this is definitely not a reason to be wary. This is an anomaly. There's an anomaly in a lot of different markets, like
every market.
Yeah, we can't just take that one and say as a whole I'll never get into that because I can't risk it. You know, that's not a good mindset, and I don't think that's going to help you in your
endeavors.
Your endeavors and trying to save. So don't let this one thing scare you from the whole stock market trading. It's not worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna miss out, so don't miss the boat.
Cool. We are at the time again. It is coming to the end of our 180th episode of
WokeNFree.
Quite the episode discussing why is GameStop so hot. Will we leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On the next episode, we'll meet the founder and CEO of Crediverso. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you want to be a guest on the show, please submit a topic for an upcoming episode or share how you feel on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. So that's WokenFree.com. On social media, you can always hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok at WokeNFree. And then, of course, any sponsorships or collaboration ideas, hit us on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do, share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokeNFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.